Good to meet you, man. We've been trying to set it up for a while. Craig has been trying to like set everything up, man. I really appreciate your time today.
Yeah, I really appreciate you doing this. And, big props to everything that you've done. I mean, you do all this energy and effort, in the industry, but nobody really, gives you much praise. But like,
I appreciate it.
it's amazing how you really took something and you took it to this level.
I really appreciate it, Nick, man. And it's great to finally meet you. On a computer, but still,
Yeah, it's like
hopefully in
I was
person.
backstage at the Arnold. I saw you doing stuff in the past, but you were busy. I was busy and stuff like that. So we never, actually met in person, but talked on the phone a couple times.
Absolutely. Well, I'm a big fan of what you're doing, man, as well, because I feel like it's very important, and it represents a different dimension to the industry. So I wanted to just kind of get into it a little bit. Maybe you can tell me a little bit about your background and how you got into the industry, into bodybuilding specifically.
Yeah, definitely. Because to make a long story short, is like my accident was August 17th, 1998. So August 17th will be 22 years since I've been in the wheelchair. And after that, I got depressed and I was borderline suicide. But I wanted to change my life because, I felt like, things were taken away from me. But, I was on the point of like committing suicide, but I stopped because I looked at my mom and I couldn't do that. So I changed my life around. Then I started looking at what's there for me, and I was 16 at the time. I was 1 week before my junior year, 11th grade in high school, and I was like, okay, so if I couldn't do anything, the one thing I could be is, stronger than everybody in the bench press. So I really got obsessed about bench pressing. So I was when I got depressed, my weight went from 170 pounds to up to 300 pounds because food was my comfort because that was my outlet. And so then I had a chest brace on because I butchered my back because I was
What
basically.
was the accident, Nick? What happened exactly?
Oh yeah, no, I can skipped over that one. So what happened was I was going to football practice and my left front tire blew out. It just popped as I got on the bridge. So it pulled me to the right and I didn't want to hit the bridge. So I pulled to the left and a vehicle was coming and I didn't want to hit the person that was coming toward me. So then I pulled back to the right and went back to the right side of the railing. I didn't want to hit. So that's when I pulled my car to the left and my vehicle started to skid sideways like this. And then I went in the left ditch. The ditch wasn't deep like this. It was just a slight slant. So I knew I was going to hit. I knew I was going to crash because time slowed down. It's hard to explain. It's just if you've been in the situation. So I just closed my eyes and I loosened my grip and I said to God, I'm in your hands now. And that's when I hit. And I felt my car going around in circles. And then I could hear the glass shattering and the metal crushing. And the next thing I know, I opened my eyes and I was looking at the sky. I didn't try to get up, but basically AMS came and put me on the stretcher. Went to the ER where they cut off all my clothes. I was completely naked, and then I was surrounded by about like 12 nurses and doctors, and they started sticking tubes in my nose because they go down to your stomach to suck all the stuff up. So you could see all the stuff being sucked out, from the tube. But I didn't think much of it, and it was until I was getting X-rays that when pain really started to go in. But I didn't know what was wrong with me. But I was life flighted to KU Medical Center. I was in Kansas at the time. And then as I was in the helicopter, I passed out. And a couple of days later, I woke up with my mother by my side. So, and then that's when the doctor came in and he just bluntly told me that I was paralyzed from the waist down. And he said I would never walk in or play football. So then he just turned his back on me and walked out. So,
Oh my God, this is crazy, man.
yeah, I was 16. So that's life.
Talk about depression. I mean, I think a lot of people going through depression right now with this whole pandemic happening, and obviously before that as well. You mentioned you were contemplating suicide.
Hmm.
And how do you deal with that? You know what I'm saying? Like, what goes through your mind when you're contemplating something like that, and how do you actually move past that? Like, what's the process like?
It's you got to realize you got to find your purpose in life, and how do you find your purpose? It's understanding your why factor, and it's the question is what you got to really ask yourself is why do you do what you do? Like look at you, most people just see you there, but like why did you why did you get involved? Why did you do what you did? And like that's you now, but think about the years past. What's your story? We all have stories, but if you define why you do something, you can do anything because that's the mindset. So when somebody gets depressed like me, I was like, there's nothing for me. And a lot of people that are disabled or accidents, they feel like God has taken it away from me. So why should I work for it? So, a lot of people point fingers, but the reality is you got to understand the why. So when I looked at my mom, that's when I had no purpose to finding my purpose. So I wanted to change to make it for my mom, because growing up, you know, we didn't have much growing up, but I was loved for my mom, my dad, and I had the support. And there's nothing wrong with that. And the reality is, like, I wanted to make it for my mom. That's why I wanted to be a football star. Because if you hear my stories and stuff, I talk about I wanted to be in the NFL to play, play for the football. So that's why I wanted to make it, because that defines my why. It was just, that was a purpose to meets to end, which was my mom. So so I wanted to not, in my life because of my mom. So I wanted to better my life. So in defining my purpose, I was like, I got to do something with my life. And that's when I realized if I couldn't play football, baseball, or sports, that was all taken away from me. The one thing I could do was bench press, which is stronger than everybody. And that's the beginning of the pursuit of the
Mm,
fitness journey.
mm. That's incredible, man. So the purpose was to please your mom in a way, right? To show her that you can continue. That's interesting, man. Sometimes I
Yeah,
think you gotta find other people that really you can impress, right? That can be your own purpose as well. And I feel it's
yeah,
important, you know.
yeah. This everything that I've done is never to impress anybody. It's to just impress upon them that if I can do it, they can do it too. It's because I wanted to make my mom proud, to give her a life that you know, that I felt like beyond. So that's really the key of my success.
Absolutely. So how did your journey transpire from that point on? And how did you started benching and then getting stronger, right? I mean, I'm sure that was a challenge in itself as well, right? To train being paralyzing, and that's not an easy task.
Right. So it's like trying to understand, like, how do you do it? Because now you can't move nothing from the waist down. So how do you balance yourself? Because later I did get sensation from in my legs. We'll talk about that in a minute. But I was strapping myself down with my belt, wrapping my midsection around with the belt down, and also had people stand on my feet and hold my knees into place so I could bench press. But I was obsessed about bench pressing as much as I possibly could, and I got VHS tapes and I studied books with bands and all that stuff. Because then going back to school, I wanted to do competitions, but my mom was against it. I didn't care about the doctor because they said if I bench pressed too much, my back was stapled. I got a titanium rods on my back vertically like this with bolts like this, and I had 62 staples, and they shaved off bone on my left hip. So, and they put the bone on my spine for additional support. They said if I pushed too hard, that my back would open up from the staples. And I said, well, if it opens up, couldn't you just close it? I didn't really care about my body. I just cared about I need to get stronger. It's a sacrifice the way I look at it. So I took 1 year off to focus on rehab, and then but I trained. I wore a chest brace because you get these chests, the front and the back, and you strap it around you like this. And I started just training heavy without my mom knowing, because I was dying inside. So I waited 1 year. It was December of 1999 that I did my first competition, and their school record was 275 pounds. And the guy in my weight division, I was like in the 190 division. He was pushing up. It was like 190, 191. I'd have to look at the records, but uh, his last max was 285. And when he got done, I said, just leave on the weight. I need to warm up. So that competition, I benched 350 pounds. I broke the school record by 75 pounds. And from then, it wasn't about winning. It was about just breaking the school records, and that's what I did. So that was the beginning of what eventually turned into everything.